thinking about it. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pod Maverick After Dark. I'm Kirk Henderson, joined, as always, by Josh Bowe. We are coming to you on Monday night, January 12th, 2026, a word I will get used to saying by some point in May. Josh, how are you?
Doing good. This was an interesting game. I don't know. I'm trying to think of where we go because, when the Mavericks are at least playing a good team, it's kind of easy because it's like, all right, this is what a good team looks like. This is where they need to be. The Brooklyn Nets are not a good team.
No, and
so
the Mavericks.
It's hard to focus, but I've got a couple ideas. But
the Mavericks won 113-105, and I think you should sort of lead off with your Brooklyn Nets take because I thought it was fucking hilarious.
Oh, how they're an abomination.
Yes, and it's
how I listened to podcasts for the last 3 weeks from national people that were like, those Nets, they're awfully feisty, best defense in the NBA for the month of December. And this was my first good look at them because I think I didn't get to watch the first time the Mavericks played them.
It was like a replacement game.
When the Mavericks also won that game. And boy, the Nets are diarrhea, diaper, doo-doo, awful. They are a bad team. They have some interesting young guys, but that is a team without, they're playing with their floaties on.
I liked watching Aaron Sharp.
He's fun, yeah.
And Michael Porter. That was it. Everything else was heinous, and I was tired of watching it. Like if they were good, and I'm trying to think how to phrase this right. They were at one point like 3 of 20 from 3-point range. On wide open looks, and they had so many offensive rebounds. One possession they had like 7 boards. They just couldn't finish layups. If they had people that were capable of the most important things doing the most important things in basketball, i.e., putting the basketball into the hoop beyond Michael Porter Jr., they might be fine. This is an unwatchable abomination, and I was mad we had to waste our time. The only flip side is we're recording before 10 o'clock, which means that game moved.
Yeah, there weren't a lot of fouls. Not too bad, but yeah, the Nets bad. And then the other two key takeaways are we talked after the Chicago game, and that team looked so dispirited and dejected, and we were like, okay, they've lost a lot of games. It's clear the season is over in terms of being a playoff team. Any grand delusion about that or, aspiration to still get back in the hunt. I think the Davis trade kind of, puts a kibosh on that.
Yep.
So that Chicago game, the first game they played without Davis, was probably the most uninspiring effort they've given maybe since opening night when they got throttled by the Spurs.
I think that's right.
We were wondering like, okay, is this it? Like they've been playing ridiculously hard for a team that is so far down the standings. Eventually, like human nature is going to catch up to you. Like, are they just going to let go of the rope and be like, this is over? Let's, pack it in a little bit and go from there. And I guess through one game since then, unequivocally, no. I mean, they once again were back to their annoyingly hard playing. When I say annoyingly, I mean for like the other team, not for like us watching. Like for the other teams must get annoyed at how hard the Mavericks play. Like they are so deficient in so many areas that they make up for by just simply running harder and moving their feet more often than the other team that they play. And, it helps that it's against the Nets. They're going to play a couple more cupcake games, and they're going to start playing like New York and the Lakers, and they're going to start playing some good teams here to close out the month of January. So maybe that's when it goes to hell in a handbasket. But for at least one game, they are still trying. And it didn't seem like they lost their competitive fire in this one. And then the other thing was about Clay, but I didn't know if you wanted to respond.
Well,
to that.
let's hold off on Clay because it's an important point. I mean, it's not a boring game. It's just, in your heart of hearts when you're watching this team in January, an 11-25 team playing a 14-25 team. There's not a lot of there. And I was glad to see, the Mavericks at least, try to run more stuff through Cooper. I thought the first half from Flagg was really a showcase of where he is, also where he needs to go, because at early points of the game, it really looked like the Nets were defending him well and preventing him from doing the things that he wanted to do, only for, as the game to wear on, him continue to press the point, and he ended up with a really, really good stat line. He only scored 6 points in the second half, I think, but in the first half, he was really finding his way. I'm very curious. This is a long-term question. This is, at what point does the NBA really learn how to sit on his left hand? Because he just keeps getting to it. And he's like, I've started to watch the angles a lot more closely. Like, he looks left-handed. Like, it's not he's good with his left hand. It's his left hand finishing looks natural. It's so impressive to watch. And obviously for me, where I am in like my basketball watching career, because I have a 9-year-old, like focusing on like who can, watching people learn how to use that hand at this age has been very fascinating for me. So like knowing Cooper's literally 9 years older than him, it's like a funny comparison point, because it's just like he must have put in so much stinking work on that hand because he just goes to it all the time. I was. The Cooper game is probably the second biggest Mavs takeaway from all that. I don't know. There were a number of Mavs who played really well tonight. Again, it's against the Nets, but it's after last game where Cooper looked kind of defeated. I think it's something.
Yeah, it's nice that they still had their spirit. And yeah, Cooper was great. It was cool to see him problem solve in real time and not like have a bad game and then need a game to recalibrate. He recalibrated during the game, which is. I mean, that's big. That's what the upper tier, top tier talented players.
Did you watch the pregame?
I didn't watch the pregame. No.
So Harp, I think he sort of misspoke, but he effectively said in the pregame, like the next thing for Cooper is to take over the league. And he like started saying
honestly?
it, and then honestly, it's what he said.
No, he's not wrong,
right? He's not wrong at all.
Yeah, it's funny.
It was like you.
That's funny.
It was very funny because he didn't mean to say it. I think he was meaning to say like something else, like take over games and become like the guy in game. But the way he said it, and like the way you hear it, it's like, it's very funny to watch this guy evolve game to game, and the things that he does well, or the things that he either is in a position to do well. I don't know. I shared this in our Slack today. There's a couple of shot charts that showed Cooper Flagg's offensive production on when we're sharing the floor with AD. And it's in a shock to no one, like drastically different. And so we're just going to get to see all that in real time the next, probably 35 games. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if AD comes back just to play a little bit, but maybe we won't see him again in the Mavs uniform. Who knows?
Yeah. Predictably, things open up a little bit more. Defensively, I think things get a little worse.
Yes.
So that's part of it.
That's actually the next thing I would like to talk about for a second while we have a minute, because I think we should save the Clay thing till after the break.
Okay.
We had a Dwight Powell resurgence, and it was like 2021-22 Dwight Powell, where he was just sort of running all over the place. The Nets were doubling Coop, and so Powell gets all these like open looks near the basket, like he's Lucas Center and the way to the Western Conference Finals. It was really making me laugh. I mean, I just can't believe this guy has played this many games in a Mavericks uniform. Like when we knew Daniel Gafford was going to be out, I jokingly tweeted, "Time to get your Cooper or time to get your Dwight Powell gear on." And like numerous people responded with, "I never take it off." And it's so funny that this guy is still, I mean, he's obviously not a rotation big, but it was fun to see him do the things he's good at instead of being put in drop. They were scrambling around on defense tonight, being a lot more, not necessarily aggressive, but they weren't. I hate, like, I've hated drop coverage since Porzingis. I think it's a bit of a myth. And it's watching,
unless you're like Rudy Gobert. Like,
yes.
you have to be that good.
Watching teams play more active defense like the Mavericks were trying to do tonight. Again, the Nets aren't very good. Like, neither of these teams was very good at anything, like, on the defensive side of the ball, given the final score. But it was an entertaining segment to watch Dwight Powell again, because it's like, you know, at a certain point, this guy's going to retire, and we're going to look like the people who have watched the Mavericks like hard the whole time, like, who have been part of the Dwight Powell experience since the Rajon Rondo trade. He's going to be such a funny Maverick to talk about, because he elicits just about every emotion in the fan book, because he played well above himself, but then got tasked with way too much, then tore his friggin' Achilles and came back. And he's just been, he's top, what is he? Top 6, top 5 in Mavericks games played all time. He's just a wild career.
Yeah. But he played a game high 35 minutes.
They were talking about it at the end, talking about how tired he was, which is it's like he had cramps. It was very funny.
Yeah. 10 rebounds, 3 assists. You know, he only had 5 points, but he was perfect 2 from the floor. Yeah. I mean, there were times, like, also when he's on the floor, someone made this point, and I apologize, I can't remember who made it a couple of weeks ago, that Clay seems to be better when Powell's on the floor, because Powell is might be their best screen setter.
I think that's true.
And I think that's a great point. I kind of almost want to look up and see what Clay's numbers are like with it. I don't think I could do that.
That's how you know we're deep in the shit in the off season. Whenever Josh is like, I might look up Klay Thompson
on off splits with Dwight Powell. Yeah. But yeah, you know, he was great. I mean, at times he looked like he was the most competent big on the floor, with sharing it with you know, Clowney and Claxton, who are very talented and very good in their own ways, but Powell just has that veteranness. And he helped a lot. And then Cooper, it was great. He was 5 of 6 on jumpers tonight, by the way. So that's another thing. Like, if he makes jumpers, it might be, you know, you aren't stopping him. He was 3.
That looks good from that.
2 of 3 on threes, and he was 3 of 3 on middies.
How far is the 3-point line? I should know this.
It's like 24 feet.
There's that distance, like 2 to 3 feet in front of the 3-point line, where he was looking supremely confident for
like top of the arc to the line, the top.
Yeah, that kind of area. He's always looked. Yeah, the kind of Dirk long adjacent area. He's always looked very confident taking those shots, but the 3-point shots, it was all of a sudden like, oh no. And when he rose and took that 3 to kind of, I mean, the game was over, but it really was an emphatic end to the game. That shot looks a lot better than it did 20 games ago. You obviously got to attribute a lot of that to the fact that his thumb feels better, but it's just, it's something to watch this guy evolve in real time. And I think for Mavericks fans, even us who have been watching these games and watched a lot of Luka, like, I don't think it's hard to contextualize how ridiculous this sort of evolution is, because it just doesn't happen like this.
Yeah, like Luka was a prodigy from the get-go. And not to say Cooper wasn't, but Cooper was a defensive like, I'm still, even after the season he had at Duke, I was not expecting him to drop 27, 30-point, 40-point games as easy as he's done before February got here. Yep. Like, I thought if I would have been optimistic about his like season averages, I thought he'd be like a 14-point per game scorer with some up and down shooting. And if anything, the offense has almost come faster than the defense, but I think that's true. Good. Yeah, it's remarkable. He also had a nice bounce back defensive game. He had 3 steals and a block, which was nice to see. But yeah, I don't know where he goes from here, because he could go anywhere. Like, it's just the sky's the limit. And
the last Cooper point, and then we'll go to a quick break, is he gets 4 to 6 points every game just by playing and running harder than everyone else.
Yes.
He had a coast to coast layup tonight where no one got in front of him, and he just decided, fuck it, I'm driving all the way and just laying it in, basically. That's one. And then he had that he got a steal and then cut up the floor hard as hell, and Max Christie found him for a running dunk at the end there.
Where it felt like you kind of like when the broadcast, like Cooper wasn't on the screen when Christie threw the pass, and when Christie threw it ahead, in my brain I went, Who the hell's he throwing it to? Who's up there? Because like I was like, no one's up there because who could get there that fast after that turnover? And of course, like Cooper's there and he gets a 2-handed dunk.
And that sort of stuff is hard to put like an analytical number on because it doesn't show up that way. But it's just like playing hard is a real skill, and he just is a freight train down that court. It's. These are the kind of games where I wish my son were old enough to stay up and watch more basketball with me, so I can be like, "Do you see that? Like, that's a thing. That's a skill that you could do because like running hard,
repeatable.
It's a repeatable skill that it doesn't take a lot of skill to have. Like just playing hard. Anyway, okay, we'll be right back. We need to insert some ads here. If there are 3 ways to support the show, I mentioned it. There are literally links in the show notes. If you're feeling generous, listening to our ads is also one way, and then telling other people about the show. We keep adding and losing followers. I have been posting more YouTube shorts and the shorts are drawing comments, and it's just like clips from our show too. It's very funny. But I hope you consider one of those 3 things. That's the best way to support the show. Josh and I will be right back. All right, thanks for sticking with us here. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. If you'd like to stick around for the second post-game show, I will host a Mavs party because why not? It's a little early. Josh and I are going to finish up here in the next 10 minutes, and happy to talk ball with anybody that wants to. Then to get the housekeeping out of the way, they play this bizarre back-to-back against the Jazz on Wednesday, Thursday. We can't actually do this, but I would love to just do a podcast about both games. Because it's just, we're just not going to talk about these guys. Isn't that right? Is that Wednesday, Thursday? No, it doesn't. Anyway, they play 3 more home games. This is like the longest home stretch that they have left, and then the Mavericks are on the road basically until like the end of time.
Yeah.
It's going to be a weird one for them. Oh, no, they play the Nuggets on Wednesday. That's right. That's a fun one. That'll be
then the Jazz 2 straight.
Yeah, they play the Jazz Thursday and then the Jazz Saturday at 4 p.m., which is weird one. We have a couple of 4 p.m. games in a row, 4 p.m. on Saturday, then 4 p.m. on Martin Luther King Day. So just sort of, tuck that in your brain if you're hoping to watch the Mavericks. All right, let's talk about the thing that I think is probably – this is an obvious statement. If Klay Thompson doesn't play in this game, the Mavericks don't win.
The Mavericks probably lose this game by like 15 points. I feel
pretty
like
bad
if Klay Thompson doesn't play in this game.
Yeah.
What did he finish with? It's almost irrelevant what he finished with. He had 18 points. He made 6 of 9 from 3. I don't have the numbers in front of me, and I should write about this. And that's added to like the 80 million things I should write about. But like, this is one of the worst shooting teams in the NBA. They basically have 2 good shooters. It's Klay and it's Christie. Everyone else is hot or cold. Cooper had a good night tonight, but he's been hot or cold. Nemard had a cup of coffee where he was making all of his jumpers, and he's kind of cooled off. He is their floor grav, like their court gravity, like him. He is responsible for their spacing. And the Mavericks are top 10 in points in the paint per game. They're top 10 in drives, and they're top 10 in field goal percentage on drives. I don't have the updated numbers, but I looked those up a week ago. I doubt they dropped out of the top 10 in a week. That doesn't happen without Klay. Like, I don't think it happens without Klay. You don't get drive. Like, how are you one of the worst shooting 3-point shooting teams in the league, but you're also top 10 in paint points, top 10 in drives, top 10 in field goal percentage on drives? Because every team should just be playing 5 guys standing near the paint. Mm-hmm. And they can't do that because they have one of the greatest 3-point shooters of all time who is still reliable enough and has a reputation to scare defenses. And Christie is a great shooter. He is kind of more of a bit of a stationary shooter. I know he can still come off screens and stuff like that, but like, it's not the same as Klay. Yeah. Like, watch Klay move off ball and watch what defenses do. They will abandon their game plan and their principles to go out of their way to cover Klay when he's flying off a pin down up to the top of the key. Like, it's like, it doesn't matter what their defense is supposed to do. It's like, oh shit, Klay is open. We can't let Klay be open. And then I think that opens up everything else. Like, I think you shared this take, Kirk, and I totally agree with it. Like, if they traded Klay, this would be, I think they would finish with a bottom 3 record for the rest of, like, if they traded Klay tonight, I think they would finish with a bottom 3 record for the rest of the season. Like, I think he's that crucial to what they want to do Like, I don't think they have an offense without him, as crazy as that sounds, because I think he is drawing so much attention purely off of his skill, his movement, his reputation, whatever you want to call it.
Well, and he looks. We're talking about him.
He's also making shots too.
He's also that's like he looks fantastic, like fantastic. And I keep telling different people who ask me about this, where it's like, you don't get Clay for October, you get Clay for April, May, June. He's been remarkably durable since coming back from his 2 career-ending level injuries. And apparently, I don't know this for a fact, but I was getting texts from people at the game saying like the 2 guys who were most vocal on the Mavericks tonight were Dwight Powell and Klay Thompson. And Klay brings up, I think something tells me since leaving Golden State and being in a different environment, he now probably appreciates what he had in a way that he didn't at the time. He never really struck me as the most vocal leader, but how can you be when Draymond Green and Steph Curry are there? But hearing that is kind of it makes me like the guy even more. He's been very fun to have on the team, fun to watch. Sometimes he does miss some of these shots that drive you crazy, but I think at least 3 of his makes tonight, he had somebody like in his shorts, and it just didn't matter. And you just can't, describe that in a way for somebody that is only box score watching. Like, he's just really important to the team. So I'm still really curious what they do with him. Like, Klay is not coming up in any rumors at all. I mean, the Mavericks are now like out of all rumor adjacent stuff, with the exception of maybe some Daniel Gafford. And this is a side note because it's like we talk about these games, and I don't love talking about these guys in terms of assets, even though I'm guilty of it as anybody sometimes. But like, the Mavericks would be like, this would just be another nail in the coffin if they don't actually move him before the trade deadline. These guys that are in charge are currently not able to come to any sort of consensus within the front office and make a deal. Like, Klay Thompson has value. Like, this is it might not be a ton of value,
absolutely,
but there is some value to Klay Thompson. And that's where it's like, there was one of our regular listeners who shows up in here, Debbie, was leaving comments like, well, what deals were you talking about as far as Anthony Davis? Like, tell me what deals. And okay, fair enough. I don't know of any deals, but the point I'm trying to make is that this is the job of the front office, is to determine value and then go figure out how to manage it. The Mavericks are kidding themselves if they think there's anything left to the season. There's not. This is all about Cooper's development, and that is it. Everything else is secondary. So figure out what to do with the assets that you have. And I don't love talking about Klay like that after praising him, but I think it's important to mention.
Yeah. So last 10 games, I mean, the Mavericks are negative last 10 games because they've lost. Like, they've won quite a few of their last. They've lost quite a few of the last 10 games.
Yep.
I mean, they are, with Klay on the court, they're -4.5 net rating. With him off the court, they're -9. Funny enough, their offense actually has gotten better with him off the court by a little bit in the last 10 games. But either way, I don't know. It's just, I don't know if the numbers are going to back it up if I dig into it. It's just felt for like the last month that his floor gravity has mattered so much, even if he's not making shots, even if he's struggling defensively. Like, it just feels like let me look at the game logs. Like, again, this is a game, like, they made 15 threes. He made 6 of them. Like, if he's not on the team, like, they won this game because they made more threes. Like, that was
right.
Pretty
This
much
is a 3-pointer. This is the one of the games that we talk about. They shot 20% better. They were from 3 than the other team. They were plus 18 relative to their opponent from 3-point range, and then they won by 8. So they needed that. Yeah.
I mean, they've been losing so much, it's hard to decouple like the noise from it. Like, are they better with Klay, or are they better without Klay? There's just been enough games where I've watched where I'm like, they would have lost by 20 if he wasn't on the floor, because he's their floor spacing. I don't see how else, we can maybe that's what a deep dive is for, but I don't think it's a coincidence that Klay's on the team and his spacing is still so important, and they're top 10 in points in the paint per game, and they're still top 10 in drives. Like I don't think you can have one without the other. Is my point. Maybe the numbers don't bear that out, but that's how I feel watching these games.
Sure. Well, it's an important thing to mention because we watch all these games. We got to talk about how we feel to a degree. Quick hat tip to Najee Marshall, another guy who played best plus minus on the team, 22 points, 9 assists, 4 boards. Really helped close the door there in the fourth quarter when the Nets kept trying to make a run. I have no idea what his value would be, but he's another guy who it's like the Mavericks aren't going to keep him for a second build. So they owe it to somebody this season or next season to move him to somebody where he can be useful because he's a good basketball player and I like watching him play. So.
Yeah, I think just about every team in the top 6 of each conference could use a Najee Marshall, whether it's 5th starter or coming off the bench. You could probably say that about Clay too. So
yeah, for sure. Well, all right, let's not beat any dead horses. I'm gonna host a Mavs party if anybody's interested. If not, that's just fine. I'll go play video games or something.
Yep. I'll go write another stats post.
Woo! This has been Kirk Henderson and Josh Bowe. Thank you so much for hanging out here at Pod Maverick. We will be back on Wednesday night after that nationally televised Nuggets game, which starts at 8:30 p.m. So that should be a fun one. I don't think Jokic isn't back yet, but who's the guy that hamstring issue? Used to play for the Magic.
Aaron Gordon's
back. So this will be a fun game because the Nuggets have kept winning without Jokic, which is interesting.
Yep.
So all right, we'll be back then. Everybody be good. Go Mavs. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Mavs Party. My name is Kirk Henderson. I am an editor over at Mavs Moneyball. We're here to talk about the Dallas Mavericks in any way, shape, or form. They did beat the Brooklyn Nets earlier tonight to improve to 15-25. That was their 40th game of the season. They are now one game over 500 at home, which means they are getting the shit kicked out of them on the road. Wow, they are real bad. Something like 4-15, if my math serves me, on the road, and then 11-10 at home. All right, so if you're new to the show and you have a take, it's real simple. There is a link in the YouTube channel comments pinned. It's a StreamYard link. It's an app. It's easy to use. You click into it. If you're on your phone, if you're on your desktop, and you have the ability to speak, that is how you do it. It's pretty simple. I bring folks up here and we talk a little bit of basketball if there is anything to say. I got my friend Killicam waiting to chat, and so I'll bring him up here in a second. But anybody else that wants to join, just head into the waiting room and I will bring you up and we'll talk ball. Hey, buddy, what's up?
Hey, what's up, man? Gosh, man, that was a good win. You always need some of those when we're in the middle of the tank, you know. Man, Coop, man. I think his defense. I think on defense he reminds me more of a Ben Wallace rather than a Kawhi, if that makes sense.
I need to see a team whose defensive strategy makes sense to me. I don't really like how the Mavericks play defense right now. Their job, what they're trying to do from a 50,000-foot view, is funnel guys into these longer twos. And that means giving up threes, and it means clamping at the rim. Unfortunately, they don't have anybody that, there's not a single guy on this team, and right now, to a certain extent, that includes Coop, that, I feel like is a lockdown, ball stopper.
Yeah.
And that just causes all these problems. So
yeah.
I see why you feel that way, because when he is patrolling in the paint, he just, does what he did where he got that block and came out of nowhere and just rah.
Yeah. He's so long and he's so athletic that it's just that he just makes stuff so he is a great bad play erasure on defense because
Yes.
even with his steals, like he got a steal in the fourth quarter that kind of sealed the game. You know, like he is just long, athletic, and has a high motor, man. Like I love his motor, man, so much. And then Max Christie, man, out of all the players, like we should keep Max Christie, you know, sign him to extension, man, because I really want him to grow with Coop and Miles Kelly, man. I think I honestly I like our rookie class with Coop, Ryan, Miles, and Moose. I really like them. You know, I think Coop can develop into like a superstar, and I think Ryan can develop into a good like sixth, seventh man. You know what I'm saying? So like, and I think Miles, man, I think Miles he has a really good shot and that's viable in the league, but I think he needs to develop in his offseason, you know, try to get bigger because he is really scrawny out there. So
Yeah.
like, but like his shot is really pure, and so it's like, yeah, I think he can be a pretty good. Him and Moose could be really good rotation players. You know, so I think this rookie class looks really good, and then man, with Clay and Najee, man, Najee, man, like I'm not giving up. I'm not giving him up for anything.
Sure.
You
Okay.
know, like
You think he's that important? You like
no, I mean,
watching him that much?
I'm saying like we need to get at least a first for him. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I'm saying don't trade it for scraps.
Sure.
He is that valuable to me because
He,
he is
he
that
doesn't
good.
make enough money. Like I think that like because he only makes like $9 million a year.
Yeah,
like he's a real bargain.
Yeah, it's like I honestly, man, like with AD, I feel like just trade him for whatever, you know, treat him for wherever we can, you know, just to get his money off the books. With Clay, I'm kind of halfway on him. I'm trying to like halfway kind of like trade him to a contender for anything. But with the way he's playing right now, I'm kind of in the middle between don't just trade him for scraps either. Yeah, like it's kind of weird like that. So like I'm kind of in the middle with Clay.
I don't think he's asked to go anywhere, which I think influences this discussion a lot.
Yeah,
Like
because
they
honestly,
want
like
to
I would
treat
like
him right.
if he wants to be here, I'm fine keeping him because he's a great leader and when and with nights like this when he's hitting a shot, you know, like he's very valuable, you know. So I'm saying like if he has to trade, then fine. But if he doesn't, then I'm fine keeping him. And Najee, I want at least a first, like at least a first man, because he's better than one or two second round picks in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? So like,
Sure.
did you hear what Rich Paul said today?
I did hear a little about that, and
apparently there was an offer, but he's saying the Mavs got greedy.
See, and I don't know. Like Rich is notoriously frustrating.
Yeah,
because it's like he's
I'm
done
really kind of sick of him.
He's and for anybody that doesn't know what he's talking about, he has his own podcast on The Ringer, and he talked a little bit about the AD trade market today. And he has this ability. He's positioned himself as like a media member while also being a agent. So a lot of what he's saying, like there's really no arguing with him. Like there's no ability to argue with him. So he like makes news on these statements that are unverifiable. You just sort of have to take his word for it. And it goes back to why he's driven me crazy for you know, as he's been LeBron's, he's really changed the NBA since he's been a part of the league.
I feel like he's honestly I kind of liked him when he was better moving in the shadows. Like right now he's kind of moving like Diddy right now. You know, like he all about the videos, trying to go viral for his podcast, man. Like, and I don't like that, man. Like I prefer like agents to move in the silence, man, because the stuff he's saying, man, that can rub some teammates of the players of his clients the wrong way, man. Like,
sure,
I feel like all that kind of success that he had in the 2010s kind of got to his head. So now he's kind of like he's kind of moving like Diddy, you know what I'm saying? Where
my take is
he should be moving like Al Heyman.
This is not an unpopular take, but I think or I didn't come up with this myself, but I think that him and LeBron are attempting to accrue enough financial resources to be able to become at least partial owners of an NBA team.
Yeah. 100%.
So then
100%.
he'll fold his agency, and all of this will have been just as a means to an end, which I respect, but I also think it leaves the game in a different place. And so as far as comments about
or he could just like sell it to
somebody
his
else, right?
Yeah, to like a protege he may have,
Partner, yeah, somebody like that. That's a good point.
So
well,
I mean, yeah.
And so what he basically had to say about AD was that the Mavericks kind of the Mavericks made things overly complicated, and
honestly, kind of with the reports from other people, I think they did as well. No, I think they try to get more, but they said just take whatever.
Sure, that's what I think as well. I think what'll end up happening is they'll move him this offseason, and fans are going to be very upset because it's going to be kind of like the Kevin Durant trade where it's just next to nothing. And
but I mean, look at Phoenix.
Yeah.
I mean, Jalen Green's a dude, man. Like I know he dealing with a hamstring, but but like the one game he played, he had 29 and 23 minutes. And then Dylan Brooks looks like a dog. And then and I don't know about their pick the pick that they had this year.
The guy that played with Cooper,
he's developing. Like I'm not gonna call him a bust because he's still developing, but like Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks, like I mean and honestly, and even then look at the Rockets,
right?
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I mean, that trade worked out for Phoenix, you know. So it's like just take that deal, man, because you never know. Because like it never knows. Like the players that we get back, even though they look small, they're culture changers. They could be culture changers. They could develop better with a more expanded role, like what both Dylan Brooks and Jalen Green had. Like it seems like the games have just expanded tremendously since they left to Houston, you know. So I mean,
I just want something. I want something, and I want it to be over with, and I don't want to think about it for and instead,
if we can get
the next 6 months,
trade, I'd be happy.
Yeah,
you know, because think about it. They got a top 10 pick.
Yeah,
you know, so like if we get 2 top 10 picks, like I mean 2 top 10 picks and a budding star and a budding well-developed role player.
Yeah.
Like that is a complete win, you know. So it's like hopefully Patrick Dumont just gets the fuck out of the office and then let these guys do their jobs because
I honestly think, and I've talked about this, I think it's less Dumont and the more the fact that there's so many people. By appointing 2 general managers that both worked under Nico instead of one. And then I think by letting Mark Cuban back into the hen house, you make things unnecessarily complicated.
Yeah, it's probably Mark because Mark's.
I mean, it could be
because this is like Mark specialty, over complicating things, trying to get more. You know, saying like trying to get more when we don't have leverage. Like this is a Mark special. Like
and even if it's not, because I've heard that they're kind of boxing him out. The fact that
they should.
The fact that it's required is kind of the problem. Like it should be, you know, I know not everything's as clean as I'm making it out to be, but if any person in the room couldn't have convinced Patrick Dumont to move on from Anthony Davis when there's all this information about his injuries, then it at that point, I don't think you're going to be able to convince him to do anything of value. Because this was a pretty obvious move to anybody with a brain, but it's like, I really want to see Cooper, AD, and Kyrie play together. And it's like, you know, me, Kirk Henderson, I would like $1 million, but that doesn't mean it's just going to happen.
Yeah.
Like you got to do something. I don't know. It's annoying. I got my guy, Mr. Green, waiting. You got anything else for us tonight, buddy?
Not at the moment, man. Like that was a good game, good win, and Coop looked special, like he normally does.
Jaden Hardy minutes. He
was decent.
He had 14 points on 14 shots. Yeah. Okay, he did have 2 rebounds. Sorry, I was looking at the box score wrong.
If his ego allows him to take a Tim Hardaway Jr. role, I do think he can last in the NBA.
Let's see. I like his shot when he's a catch and shoot guy.
Yeah, like just be that, man. Like, because that's how you'll stay in the league, man.
Yeah. All right, buddy. We'll talk soon. Okay.
Sir, thank you, yes, sir.
All right. So let's go to Mr. Green. Mr. Green, how are you? How's the Australian internet working? Uh-oh. He had to close out there. I'll see if I can filibuster for a second to see if he can pop back in here. This week's probably going to drive Mavs fans crazy because, it wouldn't shock me if they somehow beat Denver. Then they got these 2 Utah games in a row. And I don't know if you saw how badly Utah got, like at one point they're down like 50 plus points to, who was it? Charlotte. It's like you're losing like that to Charlotte. That's a rough way to go. So who knows there. All right. Well, seems like I watched Mr. Green pop in and out a few times, but it looked like maybe he had something else to go do with this morning. So, all right, I'm going to post both these shows and we'll be real quick about it. Thanks so much for listening to Pod Maverick. This has been Kirk Henderson with Mavs Party. Everybody be good. Go Mavs.